Trying to extend that.
Okay, good.
All right. Welcome to Improvement and Services Committee for October 12th, 2022. We will have a roll call. Alder Stoyer, I'm here. Alder Weary.
Here.
Alder Eck.
Here.
And Alder Campbell.
Here.
All present and accounted for. I look for approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Motion by
Second.
Eck.
Oh, wait, what's that?
We would just recommend that E1 and E2 be swapped.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, well, make that motion. Alder.
Make a motion to switch.
What'd you say? To
To
accept?
just to swap the order of E1 and E2.
Second.
Who made the motion?
Oh,
Steve
we'll
Campbell?
let him.
I just wanted to
He
explain.
All
can
right,
get
you
the
want-
Trying to
credit.
get in the
Whatever you want to call it.
right
By
process.
Campbell, seconded by Eck. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, that passes unanimously. All right, let's get to it. Number one. Consideration with possible action on a request by Alder Stoyer to prepare a report on condition and associated repair schedule for the numerous railroad crossings in the city of Green Bay that are in need of repair and to include railroad companies, including the Canadian National Railroad, in these discussion efforts. Referred to staff at the Wednesday, August 24th, 2022 INS committee meeting. I mean, I could say something. I've discussed this with Director Bernier over time, and he's been very forthright coming forward and talking about some of the situations dealing with a federal government entity like the Canadian National Railroad, and we're just looking at safe crossings, just so you don't lose half your vehicle when you cross them. So that was kind of the gist of that, and you've done some work on that, and I appreciate the efforts, and I don't know if you can expound a little bit on that.
Well, we did prepare a memo, which is included in your packet, that documents the average rail crossing condition within the city. Surprisingly enough, with the crossings that we have, the average on a 1 to 10 scale is a 5.8 right now, which is surprisingly good, especially for a community our size. Now, those that are bad are really bad. So staff has put together a 5-year plan, which is the table that's included in the packet, showing the worst crossings to be addressed. After that plan is completed, the average rail crossing condition in the city will improve from the 5.8 to an 8.1
Throughout the city.
throughout the city. So, this is the plan that staff has proposed moving forward, and we're just looking for some feedback from the committee on it.
I'll say something initially. I'm looking at these graphs, like the 5-year rail crossing plan for Watco. And let's see the crossing number, the location, the crossing rating. This is the initial rating when you saw it?
That's the rating right now.
Right now. So these are, to me, it looks like these are in the process of being looked at and eventually worked on.
This is the worst,
These are the worst?
lower the number.
Or
Lower the
the lower
number
number's
condition.
worse. Kind of
Okay.
goes on the Pacer ratings. somewhat.
They're somewhat like the Pacer ratings. They don't use the same criteria as Pacer. It's an internal criteria that we're using, but yes, like Pacer, it's a 1 to 10 scale with 10 being good.
So is this a 1 to 10 as well?
Correct.
So committee, if you're familiar?
I see 6 of them in my district.
Well, a lot of these are coming off of Quincy Street
Yeah, right.
and up into that industrial area near Newwater.
So what I was trying to say before is that the 1 to 10 rating from roads as well as railroad crossings, there's some similarity as far as the need for repair. So usually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, once in a while a 5. It seems like up to 4 is in need of repair. So it looks like you said, Alder Campbell, quite a few are in your area, and I've driven down Quincy a number of times.
Well, Eastman too.
Well, the
At Eastman.
Canadian National, there's several in mine.
Or Eastman, it's a split. One side is one way and the other, but I don't see any Eastman here. And I mean, that thing's bad. The whole wood is gone out of it. There's a hole there.
Have
And that lady is on top of it,
Have you,
on the corner of Peterson, West Peterson.
have you looked at, has the department gone and looked at these pretty much?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, that one ain't even on.
Well, who did the rating? Isn't it?
Same staff members that do the pavement ratings.
Okay, so staff.
They missed that one then.
So at least you have, and you have a list of the repair year. Now, is this something, because you remember, we had talked about the railroads, being up there, we can't deal with them, but it sounds like you've worked out some cooperative agreements between Public Works and them. If you could expound on that just a little bit more.
Well, the way that the program works,
You
in
did
theory,
explain it to us.
as we notice a railroad defect that is in need of repair, we notify the railroad. If they fail to address it, the council has the ability to pass a resolution ordering them to fix it. With the resolution, I believe they have 90 days to complete the repairs. If they fail to complete the repairs, we can petition the Office of Commissioner of Railroads in Madison and have the OCR hold a hearing, and then the findings of the OCR hearing become final. We tried that route. We couldn't even get the hearing through the OCR. So the OCR, even though it's a state agency, they are funded by the railroads. So instead, about 10 years ago, we approached the rail companies and asked, rather than just your capital program, if we bring match funds to the program, is there a way to get these things accelerated? And we were told that if we're willing to participate, it actually goes into a separate program, which is not as heavily utilized because it involves match funding by the local municipality. So we committed to match fund, and it has been things as wide-ranging as there are different types of crossings: concrete panel, all timber, rubber crossing materials, or your conventional asphalt crossing. The railroad is only obligated to have that asphalt crossing. So on streets where we want an enhanced crossing, like concrete or rubber, we've purchased the materials and the rail company installs them. Give or take, it's a 50-50 split. If we want to do work on railroad right of way, we have to get a flagger from the rail company, which I believe is about $1,700, $1,500? $1,300 a day.
Can I apply for that one? No, I'm
Jumping that
serious.
quick. That'd be a nice job.
So if we participate in the work, if we purchase the asphalt, if our guys go out there and help with the work, they have waived the flagging fees. They have not required us to get the permits. They're coming out to do the work with us, so their staff, we're under their permit and we're participating. It has worked out very beneficially for the city. As a matter of fact, Jackie Sapp, the Public Works Manager for Canadian National up in Duluth, she's got 5 states under her jurisdiction, and she routinely notifies people in her area, in her territory, that if you use the same approach as Green Bay, Wisconsin is getting more crossings done in their jurisdiction than any other city in her 5-state area.
There you go. We're a leader.
That's great.
We're a leader there.
Let's keep that going.
So it was a different way of going about solving the problem, and it required some financial investment on our end, but it's getting the problem fixed. So I was willing to spend some of that money.
That's money well spent.
Well, I don't know how many years we've been trying to get this done, but it seemed to be like this for so many years. So taking a different approach was very, very beneficial here. So
And Watco is a new player to our area. They are a short line vendor, so they don't go interstate. They are completely intrastate. Believe that they started down in the Milwaukee market, and they're in several markets around the state. But they came in and purchased former CN assets. So they purchased the Luxembourg Spur and the Denmark Spur. So the Luxembourg Spur starts at the Quincy line, and then, well, actually starts near the downtown, and goes north on Quincy to the McDonald warehouses, and then heads out on Eastman, and then
Berry Creek.
that's the Luxembourg spur, then the Denmark spur heads out,
Like KI,
yes.
right?
So,
are they willing to
No.
well,
participate?
when Watco came into the area, they actually called and arranged a meeting with us to find out what we were looking for in a rail partner, and we explained to them the programs that we had in place with CN, and they were very happy to jump on board and join up with that. So, there was a crossing on Dan's Avenue right near Dan's Elementary School.
That's what I was getting to next.
That was in horrible shape, and they jumped on that right away and got it fixed with us. So that was a teamwork approach on that one.
That's good.
Well, that's right when we started, and that was right after, when we started in April, shortly after.
Yep.
And I was ready to call Alder Stevens and go, how the hell did you get that done so fast? Because he said, we're just sick and tired of it, and we just got it done.
Yeah, you got it.
I wanted to say, let's do that to this one over there.
Well, it's improving. Believe me, I've seen it for 10 years, nothing. Now something.
Well, they came and put quick fill in where this wood was, so this one is a wood crossing. And I walked on it, I got pictures of it actually. There's sections of wood gone, there's a hole there. It's like,
It's still at Dan's Avenue?
no, that one's,
Eastman, you're talking about Eastman.
yeah, Eastman. That's the one.
Well, I mean, we have dates on here for repairs, so
No,
at
but
least
that
we
one
have
isn't even
some.
on here.
Yeah, I mean, I
There's
noticed
no
the ones in my
easement on it.
district are kind of a little bit out with the industrial park over in my district, that like Larson and
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Jacqueline Hinkle, all those, they're in horrible shape.
Just so you
It
know.
slows people down, I can tell you
Well,
that.
Well, I
That's
put on my brakes.
Canadian, so.
That's in there.
It is,
Yeah,
not till
it's in there.
26.
Yeah.
It's got a little ways out. But I understand, it's
So
a
Walt-
process.
Waltco is the short rail, hers is more of the long rail
Canadian.
type.
See, and,
At least we learned that today.
yeah, we did.
Well, I'm sure
Well-
the industrial park has a lot of deliveries, so
Oh,
they
yeah.
go through there.
Well, and Hudson, between
Yeah.
Hinkle and Isbell, is actually proposed for next year.
I'll trade you.
Yeah, that one I see on there,
Okay.
just the other one way down, yeah.
I'll trade you 2 2s for
Okay.
1 5.
All right, Alder Word, you got something?
Trading railroad
Alder Word,
crossings.
go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
I don't know.
I assume, will this schedule, do you share that with the railroads, to let them know here's what we're looking at down the line?
We would, yes.
Okay.
We have not yet.
Okay. And is this, best case, worst case? I mean, it's a plan, right? Is there any way, I'm always looking to do more quicker, right? That it might be done in 4 years? No?
It's unlikely.
Okay, but just,
We could definitely ask. The problem is they need to be able to provide for it in their capital programming, and we
Yeah.
need to be able to provide for it in our capital programming.
But at least this gives them an idea.
Right, and with this,
Right.
when we bring forward a capital budget for our CIP,
yeah.
there's only
That's
so
true.
much money that the council's
Yeah.
gonna allocate to us, and if it goes, we spend more on rail than we have less on roads.
And then my worst one was, is the one on Oneida. It's getting done next year. We were trying to get it done this year, but,
Right.
so, and then Oak, I think, is the next one, and that one's
Okay.
waiting a couple years, so. Good job. Did you think of that little detail, that little way around? Was that you, Steve, who thought of the co-funding as a way of getting it into a different bucket? And
Yes.
okay.
I was gonna say, take credit.
Yeah, I know. That's,
Yeah, well,
that's excellent. I mean,
nobody had before for decades, at least 50 years.
Wow.
Probably closer to 70. I've seen documentation in our rail files that goes back to the 50s that describes the cost sharing on the upgraded crossings. So that's something that the city has done forever. And when we were looking at simple maintenance or repair, not necessarily upgrading or enhanced crossing materials, but simply getting them back into a rideable shape, again, members of the council had challenged DPW to let's find a way, think outside the box. And I went back and I was looking through the rail files and said, what can we glean from this? And we looked and said, oh, there was a cost sharing component. I wonder if going into some sort of cost sharing arrangement would help with routine repairs as well. And I just reached out to Jackie, who's my counterpart with CN, and they were receptive to it. So
yeah,
Well, there you go.
I can tell you, as someone who's been here for quite a while, it used to be just
Right.
frustrating.
Yep.
people don't understand, what you deal with with railroads. And I'm glad you thought of that, because my plan, the next plan was pitchforks and torches to
Oh,
the railroad offices.
Wait a minute, you're on,
That was the
you're
next
on
plan.
record there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we didn't have to get to that. So,
Yes.
Good job.
Anyways,
We're
we'll
gonna
take that as a
have
compliment.
somebody
So,
visit
all
your
right,
house.
that one that I'm talking about, that was just cold packed. Now they're complaining about all this stuff going on their cars, and their scooters, and all that stuff. So,
Going on their cars? Like when
how do you report a new one? Who's gonna do that?
Just send me an email
Okay.
with where you
All right.
want us to look.
That's all I wanna know.
Steve? Jim?
All right, anything else? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to have this received and placed on file.
Do you need action on this, or?
Well, just
If
consideration.
you'd like,
Well,
we could either receive, place on file, or you could take an action directing staff to make this part of our
let's do
five-year
that. Let's go
CIP.
that route.
That's what I'll do. I'll make a motion to approve as presented the 5-year plan to bring our railroad crossings up to snuff, put that in motion.
Up.
Up to snuff. I'll second it.
Okay.
Clean that
The
up.
snuff
Steve always
part.
cleaned it up nice.
All right.
Up to snuff.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you again. Number 2, consider, oh, wait a minute, no, that's not yet, okay. Consideration with possible action on the review and award of contract WSG 3-22 water heater replacement rebid.
So we had bid out a replacement water heater for the west side garage earlier this year that had come in substantially over what we had budgeted for the 2022 capital program. Staff went back, re-scoped the project, changed some things around, and rebid it. We received bids on Tuesday, October 4th. 4 bids received. Low responsible bidder was Maverick Mechanicals in the amount of $50,000 even, so staff is recommending award to Maverick.
Why did I think we didn't get a bid on that one? Is that a
Because
different
we
one?
didn't the first time.
Yeah.
You said it was over.
Is that the one that came back no bid?
I thought there was
There
no
was
bid.
nobody that bid on it?
Yes, no bid.
Okay,
That's it.
No bid.
we've got so many bids coming in that
Yeah,
sometimes it's
after a
hard to
while.
remember
I'm just
which
proud
one's
that I
which.
remembered.
Which ones are which?
Way to go.
I called a few of my connections and told them about it. I says, call City, find out.
What were the other bids?
August Winter and Sons came in at $57,700. Johnson and Johnnet Mechanical was $62,270, and Herkman Mechanical was $63,663.
All right.
Okay. I don't know why, but I'm
So
not, is that in there?
Maverick, or, I'm sorry, I didn't,
Oh,
are they local or Valley?
Milwaukee area.
Milwaukee area.
It's relatively new.
I
I
don't,
never heard of them. I heard all the other ones.
those amounts aren't on here, are they? Because
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
you put in the, and I don't see them.
That's why I understand.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
Well,
right.
that's why I was wondering, because I
Normally, there
usually
will be
catch
something
them,
with
so
the
that's why I
bids, the
was,
prices on. I don't,
okay.
is that?
Motion to approve the low bidder Maverick.
Okay,
Second.
Motion by Weary, seconded by Eck. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, that passes unanimously. All right, number 3, report of actions taken by Department of Public Works, granting of licenses. You want to do these separately? Sidewalk builder, A, Homestead Concrete, B, J&S Flatwork. Is that, how do I,
Move to receive and place on file. See, we're already right.
It
Yeah,
says
I
action
know, I was-
taken, so,
yeah,
second,
okay, by Weary, seconded by Eck. All in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. All opposed, that passes unanimously. All right, so now we gotta do 2 before 1, correct?
Correct.
For informational.
Yep.
Number 2, citywide green stormwater infrastructure GSI planning projects update and discussion.
Okay, not a whole lot of discussion. Included in your packet is an RFP that went out to engineering consultants for the purpose of preparing proposals. Back in February of 2022, the Common Council directed staff to develop a citywide green stormwater infrastructure plan. So that's a comprehensive plan on how we're going to address green infrastructure for stormwater management across the entire city. To accommodate that request, DPW developed the RFP that's included in the packet to solicit proposals from qualified consultants. The RFP was issued on September 9. Staff is currently in the process of evaluating the proposals that were received. The GSI plan will be a critical strategy in the city's flood resiliency planning and stormwater management. It'll identify projects and make recommendations for integrating green stormwater infrastructure into both public and private properties to reduce localized flooding, increase green spaces, and improve water quality. We are looking for any feedback that the alders have on the plan RFP we sent out, and we anticipate bringing a recommendation for discussion, possible action to the committee on October 26th.
Committee, have you had a chance to look at it? I've peeked at it.
Yeah,
I haven't had a lot of,
I read a little bit, but did someone on staff, or did you see who wrote like the preamble part at the beginning?
Melissa,
Okay.
the sustainability coordinator.
I was just curious, because it says over the last few decades, the city has experienced more intense rain, snow melt, flooding events. I mean, compared to what, I mean, for the last 2,000 years, or the last 100 years, so and that's just an interesting
Okay.
statement.
all right. Yeah, I mean, unless you have graphs here showing all of that,
Yeah,
like
I
over
know,
the
I
years. Yeah,
Well, she's
I-
going back to
just power and words.
1634.
It's probably
We are?
words.
Well, that's what it said in the first paragraph.
Yeah, records.
16.
What I can answer for you is, if you look at from the late 1800s through about mid-century, 1955 through about 1965, a lot of the published tables that are available through National Weather Service or Soil Conservation Service that are utilized for storm water and storm sewer design. So you go to a book on storm sewer design and they give you rainfall intensity curves for Green Bay, Wisconsin. Those things typically run, the data in them typically is not more recent than the mid-50s to mid-60s. And when we compare, when you look at the graph, it's in return, so how frequently the storm occurs, and the intensity and duration is what the three things that you bring together on that graph. The storms we are seeing now, since probably the early 90s, so the last 30 years, there is a large increase in short duration, very high intensity storms happening more frequently. So the rainfall events we know are changing over what the published tabular data is. So I think that's all she's trying to get to.
Oh, correct.
Is there also the possibility of there's more cement than there was? Like, less.
Absolutely. Nobody's
Drainage.
making a value judgment as to why it's happened, just the fact that it is, and if it's happening, we need to plan for it.
Okay.
A favorite of a lot of people, they want Webster Center section changed.
You mean
They
cut
don't
the
care,
grass?
they want to
Yeah.
start a petition.
It looks
They want it
bad.
done. We heard it at the neighborhood thing, I hear it on the street. Everyone asks me, is that your district? I'm like, yep.
Well, there were comments about it.
And
Well, it
some
depends, I drive down there to go to
bigger
my mother-in-law's.
people,
so Some of the grass
$6
looks
million
nice, some of the
project,
other
and it
stuff
looks
that I
like that.
think gets in there, maybe some of the weedy things, but there's the one almost grain-like grass that looks pretty nice, but it gets infiltrated by the other, I think.
I think,
Go
if
ahead.
it's okay,
I don't know.
I think
Let's
people are
maintain.
used to it being maintained, and so it looks like it's not maintained, and
It's
that
different.
is the problem.
Yep.
If it looked like a prairie, because
Looks like
I've
it's
seen a
not
lot of
finished.
prairies, it doesn't look like a prairie, and
There's
maybe
like
that's
weeds
what
coming
the,
off the edge and there's,
yeah, it doesn't look, it just doesn't
Looks
look.
like
because some of it looks nice,
Poor little
but
But I know, and a lot of people are probably against it, but I think, the reason that it was done was for the way the water flow and
First I
different.
told him it was under weed control. Second I told him it was there. These aren't retired
It was.
people, these are people that run all the neighborhoods, 47 people. Mr. What's his name that owns East Tone, he
Oh.
approached me and says, you gotta do something. Now he owns a lot of stuff in town.
Yeah, Gary
Yep.
Bader.
I mean, and he was the last one that talked to me the other night, and I said,
Well,
I'm
I mean-
going to a meeting. Second of all, there's a big to-do up in Sturgeon Bay at the city council there, and all them people there that I knew, and I made one little comment on, good job, to stick up for the fishermen, blah, 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 how they do their tournaments. And what I got from that is a whole bunch of comments on the city docks, because them are all the fishermen.
Metro,
Yep,
if they've got a way to expedite our dock order, I'm all ears.
well, I said it was a supply chain issue, and now I don't know what to tell them anymore. Because
Well-
one guy joked and says, yeah, right, they won't be in by Labor Day. Well, we're past that. What do you want me to tell them?
Nobody wants those docks in more than I do.
Just doing my job.
So it is a supply chain issue.
If there was any way for me to
Did
get
you
the
say
docks
last time
installed,
you just got
including me
them in, though?
driving to wherever they're being manufactured to personally pick them up, I would do that.
The last time, though, I asked you about it, a couple weeks ago, maybe. Didn't you say we just got in the docks or the material or something? Or they were on
We've
their
got
way?
confirmation that they were being manufactured.
Okay, I know you told me something, so
Yeah.
it was a huge, huge step by a couple holidays.
Well, yeah, you gotta get into somebody's build slot too.
Well,
That or we gotta put in the fishing dock.
you know, we did a lot of, speaking of the Metro Boat Launch, myself and a citizen who's a diehard fisherman, we went around to all the different Brown County sites where you can dock and such. And just looking at, and then, of course, that's a county thing, as far as the financing, paying, how much percentage does the city get? Why aren't there more fishing tournaments? Da-da-da. Any number, believe me, we covered a lot of that, but I think there's enough interest, and I think we can move forward, hopefully get some of that stuff done over time. All right.
Are those, the ditches, things like that, that's DPW, not parks? Or some of the, because I know it's a plan, and I believe Dan Ditch, I talked about having people cut less of what is part of the parkway. So I kind of look at it as sort of there's, maybe it's DPW and parks, and they just have two different areas, but it's still the same kind of idea of letting things grow.
Yes,
So what I guess maybe a thought would be is, if you added a few flowers in there, people would maybe think it looks like it should be there. Kind of like what, similar to what they're doing out by the quarry in Howard, where there's they're trying to grow up like more prairie with flowers and stuff.
Wildflowers.
Yeah, like a
I
wildflower.
can bring it up to our consultant.
Yeah. I think part of it is because it's one of the big entryways to the city, off the highway.
Oh, yeah.
And for years, just to get, Webster done, that was huge for the city.
Well, up by Elway, it looks like it's maintained as good as my garden, so, they compare that. Why can't it be like that?
There's
up
flowers
there?
planted.
And I tell them it's
Well,
a drain
because
system.
Galloway is not meant as a stormwater management device, that's why.
Right, I
And
try
it's
to
very
explain
simple.
that to them, of course, we're learning this and we're learning it all.
Right.
But
Okay.
they don't care.
All right.
Did I miss it? Did we award this contract?
Not yet.
Okay. 'Cause
No.
I think they were due back.
We just wanted to get this
Okay.
on your radar so you were
So-
prepared. We're planning on bringing a recommendation for award at the next meeting.
Gotcha.
I'll be looking it over, I'm sure our committee will be looking it over, we'll definitely have a list of questions.
I read it, but it is
It's
a
still,
lot.
there's a lot, yeah, no,
There's a
yeah,
lot packed in there.
right. Okay, so where are we at here?
Place on file.
Yeah,
Okay. You want to do motion?
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second,
By X, seconded by
Thought you were
Campbell, all in
basically saying
favor,
it, that's-
please say aye.
Aye.
right,
All opposed? Okay.
Wanna be
All right,
ready to take 'em all.
so next we're doing 3 or 1? 3?
one.
1. Director's report on recent activities of the Public Works Department.
One of the things we try to do is make sure we end on a happy note. So,
Oh, no.
You aren't losing any engineers.
well, we're gonna give you the bad news first.
Okay, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
It seems like there's bad news coming.
Yeah, it's probably among the worst news we could give you.
Oh, no.
Matt Heckenleibel has
For
taken a position as the Director of Public Works in the city of Two Rivers. Matt's last day with us is going to be October 20th. 22 years with the department and a wealth of institutional knowledge. So that is going to hurt the department. We wish him well in his new endeavor, but that's going to be very difficult for us to.
Well, no doubt. And again, you know, I don't know, you can look at comparables, you know, with, with salaries between communities. That's a whole nother thing. And you know, we've had some issues, I think, over time, trying to incorporate some of these folks that come in here with salaries. So that's just one of my side comments. So, committee, anything else?
Last night, we brought forward our portion of the capital improvement program in front of the finance committee. Alders, Eck, and Sawyer were in attendance. So fire, DPW, sanitary, storm, and parking all had their opportunity to present their plan last night. The remaining departments will go in 2 weeks, and a recommendation on approval of a 2023 CIP will then come forward from finance to the committee, so just be aware and watching for that. And then again, we do want to try to end on a happy note. The Oneida Street crossing for the CN Howard Spur was actually updated last night.
Oh.
So it was a temporary repair ahead of the permanent repair, but it was in bad enough shape that we didn't want to get something done. So they went in and removed the timbers and asphalted the holes in. We'll see how that plays into the proposed upgrade for next year, to see if maybe we can get away with a little bit less expensive upgrade for next year. But CN was able to accommodate at least something this year to get it a little bit more rideable, because that one was in bad shape.
So he waited to tell you that,
That is
just so he had
happy
that
news.
happy news.
Yeah, you were holding it.
It's a good thing.
Yes, you could have talked about
You
it.
know how hard that was not to say something during the first agenda item?
He's like, I want to, and then happy note.
Good thing there was nothing to make our decision on, because he
People
did that
very
first
happy.
to make him happy.
I think one of the good things yesterday at finance, you were talking about various grants and things that might be out there to help offset some bonding, things like that as time goes on. I think that'd be a really good thing as we look at budget, you know, just try to do more of that.
Right, as you're reviewing the capital program, remember that there's 2 components to it. So as you see the list of projects from each of the various departments, and it's going to be in major capital expenditures, which for us is primarily road projects and sewer projects. That's your major capital. Then there's a section on fleet. Then there's a section on equipment.
Right.
In your department.
On all departments.
It's separated
The
out,
capital
which is nice.
program, the CIP that you're going to be asked to act upon is over 700 pages.
CIP.
Capital improvement program.
Okay.
So it's a 5-year plan that we're looking at, and we'll be looking at a bond request for the 23 portion of it, but we're also projecting out 5 years on anticipated needs. When you're looking at the costs that are associated with every department, that's the total cost of those projects. So for instance, we have Country Club Road in there, okay? Country Club Road has like a $5 million price tag associated with it, but 80% of that is being picked up by the federal government. So it's only a 20% cost share. However, in the CIP, the full dollar value of it shows up. You have to look at the financials page of the CIP that says, here's the total project, this is coming in on grants, this is coming from this source, and what the levy supported borrowing to support the program is. So there's 2 components that you need to be aware of.
Okay. Well, it's good to
We'll
know
try,
that.
yeah, there's no
but
doubt.
it-
Because otherwise, if you simply look
I
at the
saw that
cost,
number, like, holy.
yeah,
Yeah.
DPW was $14 million in capital, major capital.
Yeah, I
for next
noticed you
year
guys
alone.
were the highest.
We always are.
Yeah.
But of that $14 million, we only have an $8 million levy impact. So $6 million of it's being funded elsewhere.
But I have
Go
a
ahead.
question. In looking through there, I didn't see anything about like the specific salaries for your department. Is that under HR? Is that a separate? Because I don't
That's
remember
under the budget.
Okay, so that wasn't part of what we looked at last
Correct.
night. I looked through
No.
the whole thing and I'm like, I don't see that.
Day-to-day operations, what it takes just to run the city, that comes out of the operating budget. If we're looking at investing in infrastructure, purchasing equipment that has a lifespan of so many years, or fleet vehicles that have an extended lifespan, that we'll borrow for, and that's part of the capital program. The capital program has a tie back to the operating budget, but only in the fact that in the operating budget, there is an item in there for debt service. And the debt service number is analogous to your mortgage payment. You borrowed money to buy your house, and you gotta pay it back every month over a period of time. The debt service payment is what we're paying on the money we borrowed to do the capital program. So the debt service payment comes out of the operating budget, and that's how the two of them tie together, but other than that, they're kind of separate.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, well,
you know, having a meeting with the mayor and Joe Fultz and
right.
Who do you get to
Diana
be
next
with?
week.
Who's your partner?
Jesse. Who
I
are
got
you?
Randy.
You got Randy?
No offense, Randy.
That's because you had that
I don't.
That-
We're tied
The
together.
cupcake
Yeah,
fight, the
that's
all right.
cupcake board.
All right,
You'll have
Permanently
one
bonded.
we
They
can
called
talk
me
about that
yesterday,
later.
but
When
we
you
wanna
said it.
be-
Is there anything else?
Nope,
Director?
that's the end of the director's report.
All right, this goes to city council next week. I know for all you
He's
people out there,
telling, yeah,
which is what, October, is that October 18th?
Yes.
yes.
Yes, all right,
Look on your thing.
all right.
No, it's no.
October
It
18th.
says
No,
that.
but he gave us that.
Oh.
He gave us all that.
That's why I have my committee to help me out.
I looked,
Yes.
I marked them all from what you said.
I know. All right, so, anything
Motion.
else, receive and place and file, do we need?
See, place on file, the director's
By
report.
Wery, seconded by Beck, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes unanimously. Next meeting is October 26th for INS. I would ask for adjournment
Motion to adjourn.
by Eck, seconded by Campbell. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 57 minutes?
57.